A ticking time bomb under US dollar reserve currency status. Anti-Russia sanctions seem to backfire, prompting the entire world to reconsider their financial policies. Ban on dollar banknotes export to Russia, freezing its foreign exchange reserves. The US is weaponizing its currency, and many are wondering if they might be targeted next. But what makes a dollar so special? Why does nearly every central bank in the world stockpile the US currency and invest in American bonds? The dollar has been preserving its status for decades, and the secret ingredient is oil. A quick dive into history. Back in 1974, Saudi Arabia was the world's biggest oil producer and had just shaken the Western world with a major oil embargo, a punishment for supporting Israel in the Yom Kippur War. The US was then importing 70% of its oil, and the embargo hit it hard. To guard themselves against the possible oil shocks of the future, the Nixon administration offered the Saudis a deal. The US agreed to supply the Saudis with military aid and equipment. In exchange, Saudi Arabia agreed to accept the dollar as a de facto means of exchange in the oil market. From that moment, every oil contract with Saudi Arabia had to be priced in the US currency. The rest of the OPEC countries followed suit. The petrodollar system was born. Imagine a chocolate pie in a room full of hungry people. Everyone wants to grab a bite, but you may only use a plastic spoon. No steel or wooden allowed. Convert your spoons in the exchange office. Pile up more for the future. Sounds unreasonable. That's kind of what a petrodollar is like. From 1974, the entire world has been paying for oil in the US dollars. No gold, Saudi rial, or any other national currency allowed. To buy, an oil importing country must first convert its national currency into US dollars. Ties to the world's most sought-after commodity immediately boosted demand for the US currency. Oil importing countries began piling up dollar reserves to minimize currency volatility risks in their future oil purchases. Oil exporters started investing their dollar surplus back into the American economy, purchasing bonds and treasury bills. This enormous interest in the US currency raised it to a unique position. The demand is so high that the US can print as many dollars and dollar-denominated bonds as it needs to finance its external debt. If any other country tries to do the same, it will immediately face rising inflation. In the case of the US, people will buy dollars anyway. For decades, the dollar enjoyed its unique status with the tacit consent of the world. Its value remained relatively stable because the US economy has been growing steadily, unaffected by the turmoil in other parts of the world. Oil prices denominated in a stable currency, for their part, decreased fluctuations in the market. The rising powers like China and anti-American governments like Venezuela urged to review the petrodollar system, but the de-dollarization was limited to a number of symbolic moves up until now. Unparalleled anti-Russia sanctions shocked the government officials way beyond Russia's borders. India, China, and even Saudi Arabia are now giving a second thought to de-dollarization initiatives.
Yuan jumps after report on Saudis weighing its use in oil deals. India reportedly explores yuan in oil trade with Russia as frustration grows over US sanctions.
Does this mean the end of the US dollar? Not yet. Over the years, the central banks all over the world have accumulated too many dollars and dollar-denominated bonds. Should they get rid of them all at once, the entire finance system will collapse. But trust in the dollar's stabilizing role in the economy has been severely undermined. The competition from yuan is now tougher than ever. Unless the US finds something else to offer, it may end up with soaring inflation and trillions of dollars that nobody wants.